In today's episode, might make sure you know what I'm working on before letting me go. You want to use the bathroom closed for cleaning? Go for it. You want me to mark all the clearance? Okay. So let's get started. Might make sure you know what I'm working on before letting me go. I was working for a logistics company several years ago. They went through a merger and wound up shutting our office down. They presented it to us like they were doing us a favor and expected me to pick up and move states to keep working with them. That obviously wasn't in the cards, so what happened next was a bit of fun. When we got the email talking about the merger, I had my reservations. When we got a second email indicating that the company president, VP, head of sales, and a HR supervisor were all coming down to meet out 8-person office, I clearly saw the writing on the wall. You don't send that type of firepower if something great is happening. The day of the meeting comes up, and they told us that due to the merger they were shutting down our office, but we could go to any of the other offices they, or the new company had. I wasn't 100% not going to move, but I wanted to know my options. To say they weren't prepared for this meeting is an understatement. I asked them several questions that were critical to me making a decision on my future within the next 5 days. 1. Will you pay moving expenses? 2. Will you pay to break my lease? This was March and I renewed my lease in February. 3. Will you pay cost of living adjustments if average costs are higher where I go? The answer to all three was initially we don't know, we'll have to get back to you. This was on a Friday, and they told me by the end of that day I would have my answers. Shockingly enough, come Monday I did not have these answers. I told this to my local manager, and he cussed under his breath and hopped on the phone. About 30 minutes later, I get my answers. 1, no. 2, and 3, no. While I had expected these answers, I could tell they did not expect my next question. By the merger I had just gone over 3 years with the company. I asked them what the severance package looked like. One more time I was told, we don't know, we will have to get back to you. A couple of hours later, they offered me 1 month's salary, not factoring in my commissions, which had exceeded my salary. Not only did they offer me scraps, they wanted me to sign a new non-compete with all sorts of new teeth. Needless to say, I told them no thanks to all of it. This made them mad, and then they told me that I could turn in my stuff, and would be paid for the next 2 weeks. What they didn't know or ask is what I was working on. In the business it's typically very easy to pick up the ball for someone else. Unknown to them, I was working on an incredibly complicated project moving a portable air traffic control tower from Jacksonville, Puerto Rico. This is also a government project since it's involving airports, so all the T's need to be crossed along with all the I's dotted. To get this down to PR, we put it on a barge. This thing was basically a massive camper converted with a pop-up tower, and all sorts of electronics, if you're trying to imagine it. Oversized, and needing permits to move. I honestly can't tell you what happened from this point. I never found out. All I can do is sit around from time to time and chuckle about how whoever tried to pick up my slack stepped into a hornet's nest, the likes of which I couldn't have set up had I planned and tired. They let me go on the spot since they didn't want me harvesting info to poach customers and start my own gig. What they didn't know is that I knew all of this was coming, and had already printed out everything I needed several days before. Had they asked me to see this thing through, I probably would have. You want to use the bathroom closed for cleaning? Go for it. When I was younger, 18-19, I worked at a fairly popular beach in my state as a supervisor. My job included selling and checking beach passes at entrances, parking cars, and closing the bathrooms at the end of the day for cleaning. We closed the bathrooms at 7 p.m. every night, and there were 3 announcements made on the intercoms in 15-minute intervals before they were closed. Now usually, we would get our fair share of stragglers who would come right as the bathrooms closed. I would tell them the bathrooms are closed blah blah blah, and they would leave, some friendly, others not, all in a day's work. Well, one day I come up to the bathrooms to lock the door at 7 o'clock sharp. When I entered the bathroom attendants immediately filled me in on what was going on. To be honest, I really wasn't listening because the situation was pretty obvious. There was poop everywhere. The mirrors, walls, sinks, toilets, toilet paper, floors, everything was covered in diarrhea. A full-blown shenanigan, if you will. From what I understand, a beachgoer on some sort of drug destroyed the bathroom at approximately 6:55 p.m. and ran out before anyone could say anything. Now look, I'm usually a pretty laid-back girl, so I said something along the lines of, well, whatever, we have a power washer connected to some pretty industrial cleaner and floor drains. Let's get this done so we can go home. People suck sometimes. The offender was clearly battling an addiction. *T happens, literally. I lock the door and put some gloves on. I start hearing banging on the door, so I walk over and open it to a line of angry Karens. The head Karen of the group starts asking if they can use the restrooms. Me, I'm sorry, unfortunately the bathrooms are closed and are currently being cleaned. They close at 7 o'clock and I can't make any exceptions. Head Karen, well, we need to go. Open the door. Me, there were 3 announcements stating that the bathrooms were closing. I'm sorry, but I cannot do that. Here's when things got serious. She and a few other Karens start pushing on the door to open it and begin calling me some of the most disrespectful names in the book. I'm holding the door and threatening to call security, especially because the poor bathroom attendants, a bunch of 16-year-old girls, are scared and unsure of what to do. Cue malicious compliance. I tell the Karens to give me a second to let the attendants out, and they are welcome to use our closed facilities. The girls leave, I open the door, and they are met with the poopiest crime scene of all time. They immediately evacuate the *T nuked bathroom in silence as I stood there acting like I was confused. Of course I got some threats that I was going to be fired, but the next day there were no complaints filed. Guess it's hard to report someone for being accommodating, smiley face. You want me to mark all the clearance? Okay. This is a relatively small MC and happened about 5 years ago. During college I worked at a large department store that was not Walmart in the clothing section. Someone F'd up somewhere, and we somehow got all of the straw hats for the entire state one summer. They legit would not stop coming. Thousands of hats. Now, I usually did the clearance markdowns for this section. The day comes round and there's something like 6,000 new markdowns that have to be completed that day. The process is that you scan the item, print the ticket, put the sticker on the item. I was also responsible for answering the phone for the entire store and manning the fitting rooms. I'm also the only one scheduled until 2 p.m. for the clothing section. My manager approaches me first thing and tells me I need to get them all marked down by the end of my 6-hour shift, and leads me to the basement where the hats are. I ask about the phones and rooms and they tell me they'll handle them. So, I complied. I sat down with the printer and started scanning. Not even an hour and I start getting clothing department, you have a call on line X, clothing department, you have a customer coming your way, clothing department. Over the walkie-talkies because no one was up there. This gets the attention of the store manager. There are several levels, and he's freaking out. Where's the clothing department rep? Why are there so many calls? No one is watching the fitting rooms. What's going on? Both he and my manager come down to talk to me at about the 3-hour mark. What's taking so long? I had gotten through about half of the hats. Relief was still hours away. Neither manager knew what to do, but both were angry. I asked if they just wanted me to activate the prices without doing the stickers. I've already marked the 300 or so we managed to cram on the sales floor. Nope. You have to follow the process. Can I just print the stickers and leave them in the box? Nope. So, I just sat there. Scan. Print. Stick. Scan. Print. Stick. I got to sit in the basement and sip Starbucks and listen to music while doing markdowns and ignoring work upstairs during back-to-school season. They checked on me every 30 minutes and ended up calling in other team members in early for overtime to cover because I had to follow the process. 6 hours later I left, having marked them all. Best shift ever. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.